Hello and welcome to The Explainer. We're all about taking complex topics and making them clear, engaging, and, well, easy to understand.
All right, so let's jump right in. Have you ever looked at someone you know is brilliant, and just wondered, how could they act so, well, dumb? It's a question that actually puzzled two psychology professors one day while they were painting a house. And that one simple thought, it kicked off a total revolution in how we think about intelligence and what it really means to be successful.
And what they landed on was both simple and, honestly, pretty profound. They realized that making smart decisions, well, it takes more than just what a typical IQ test can measure. It was a signpost pointing to a completely different kind of intelligence. And that idea, well, that was emotional intelligence. You might know it as EQ. It first popped up in a pretty obscure academic journal, but it proposed this whole new way of looking at what makes people genuinely effective in their lives. And the journey this idea took from the classroom to, well, everywhere else was just incredibly fast. I mean, think about it. In 1990, it's this niche concept in a scientific paper. 5 years later, Daniel Goleman's book comes out and bam, it's a household name. By the 2000s, EQ wasn't just an idea anymore. It was a full-blown global movement, totally changing the game in business, schools, you name it. Okay, so what is it exactly? What are we talking about here? This is the original definition Salovey and Mayer came up with. And if you boil it down, it's really about being smart with your feelings. It's this incredible skill of being able to read the emotional landscape. What's going on inside you, what's going on with other people, and then using all that information to guide how you think and act.
And when you put it side by side with IQ, you really start to see the true power of emotional intelligence. Your IQ, that's your cognitive horsepower, logic, reasoning, and it's pretty stable. It doesn't change a lot. But EQ, that's totally different. It measures your emotional skills. And here's the absolute game changer. EQ isn't fixed. It's a skill. That means it's something you can learn and actually get better at your entire life.
All right, so how does this all work in practice?
Well, EQ is really built on 4 core skills. Think of them as the building blocks. And together, they give us this really practical framework that takes the whole idea from something abstract to something you can actually use.
So the framework is basically this simple grid. On one side, you've got awareness versus management. So what you see versus what you do about it. And then on the other side, you have personal versus social skills. Basically, stuff about you versus stuff about other people. And the bedrock, the foundation for the whole thing is self-awareness. Everything else builds right on top of that.
So here are the 4 skills. It all kicks off with self-awareness. That's just recognizing your own emotions and understanding how they're driving your thoughts and behavior. Next up is self-management. This is where you use that awareness to control those impulsive feelings and handle your emotions in a healthy way. So you're not just reacting. Once you've got a handle on yourself, then you can really focus on social awareness, or what most of us call empathy, understanding what's going on with other people. And finally, you get to relationship management. This is where the magic happens. You pull it all together to build good relationships, communicate clearly, and handle conflict like a pro.
Okay, but this isn't just some fluffy, abstract theory, right? The impact of high EQ in the real world, especially at work, is absolutely massive. And it's not just a feeling, it's measurable. The data we have on this is incredibly compelling. And this phrase right here, it pretty much sums up the entire business case for EQ. Emotions drive people, people drive performance. It's the perfect bridge connecting feelings to actual bottom-line results. It's so simple. When people feel seen, valued, and understood, they just do better work. It really is that direct. And the financial impact is just wow. Look at these numbers. L'Oreal hired sales agents with high EQ, and they brought in an extra $2.5 million in revenue. The U.S. Air Force, they saved almost $3 million in recruiting costs just by using EQ to pick their people. And it's not just sales or recruiting. A Sheraton hotel that focused on EQ saw its market share shoot up by 24%. These aren't small changes. The bottom line benefits are absolutely undeniable. And maybe the most crucial point is this. It's not just academics or consultants pushing this idea. We're talking about hiring managers, the people who actually make the decisions. A whopping 71% of them say they value emotional intelligence more than IQ. They get it.
They know technical skills might get you in the door, but it's the emotional skills that are going to make you successful once you're there. And this incredible power isn't just stuck in the boardroom. EQ is absolutely fundamental to our personal lives. It can completely transform our closest relationships. And this story about Alex and Jordan, it's a perfect example of what I mean. So, in that moment, what did Jordan do? He didn't jump in with a quick fix. He didn't try to solve Alex's problem. He just practiced social awareness and relationship management. He listened. He validated Alex's feelings. And that one simple act of empathy, man, it was so much more powerful than any solution he could have offered. It didn't start another argument. Instead, it created this moment of real, genuine connection. And this, to me, is the best part of this whole thing. I've said it before, but it's worth repeating. Unlike IQ, your emotional intelligence is not set in stone. It is a skill. And just like any other skill, whether it's playing the guitar or learning a language, you can get better at it with practice. So let's take a beat for a little self-reflection. I want you to ask yourself this question and be really honest with yourself, because this is where it all starts. Any journey to develop your EQ has to begin with that foundational skill we talked about, self-awareness. And luckily, we have some great practical tools. Dr. John Gottman's research gives us something called emotion coaching, and it's super powerful. The steps are pretty simple. First, and this is the hardest part, you have to pause before you react. Just take a breath. Then you listen. And you're not listening to argue or defend yourself, you're listening to understand. Step 3, validate their feelings. Do that before you jump into problem-solving mode. And finally, offer comfort, not solutions. It's a simple little recipe, but it's a fantastic way to practice and build empathy in any relationship. And look, you can work on strengthening these EQ muscles every single day. It doesn't have to be some monumental effort. Try journaling. That's great for building self-awareness. Practice a little mindfulness to get better at self-management. Make a point to really actively listen in your conversations to boost that social awareness. None of these are huge, life-altering changes. They're small, consistent habits. But when you do them over time, they build incredibly powerful skills. So where does this all lead? What's the ultimate potential here? Daniel Goleman, the guy who really brought EQ to the mainstream, he challenges all of us to think way bigger than just our own jobs or our own relationships. And that leaves us with one last pretty big thought to chew on. When you look at the world, at all the massive, complex challenges we're facing, what if the key isn't just being smarter? What if the real key is becoming more emotionally intelligent together? What could we solve? What could we build if we all committed to raising our collective EQ? That's something to think about.